Hey guys, and welcome to another episode tutorial with me, Joseph Evans, author of the Secretary Sequence books and The Phoenix Prophecy, The Ember Effect, Soulbound, The Secret of Rain, The Last Goodbye, and Glitch Girl. If you find these tutorials helpful, don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how you can get your characters driving cars. Now, there are two types of scenes in which your characters can drive cars. The first is where there is a static car on screen and a looping background gives the illusion that the car is moving. And the other is where the car actually does move. The first of these two scenes is probably the easiest, so let's start with that. The first thing we're going to want to do is select one of the looping backgrounds in the official art catalogue. So let's go to the art catalogue and we can just type in loop to find all the looping ones. I'm going to choose this highway one. And by the way, if you want to use your own custom looping background for this, you absolutely can. Just check out my how to create looping backgrounds tutorial first and then come back and watch this. Okay, let's go back to our script and paste this in. Then we need to choose a car from the overlay section of the art catalogue. Let's delete the word loop. And we can use one which is side on like this here, or one that is slightly at an angle. For a long driving scene where characters are talking to each other, I would recommend going for one of the angled ones because it just gives you a bit more space to work with. I think I'm going to choose car angle brown. So copy and paste that. And to get it into our script, we just need to write with in all lowercase letters and then paste in the overlay name. And let's put some characters into this scene as well. At this point, it doesn't matter where we put them because we're going to need to spot direct them anyway. So let's put Secretary. He stands screen center and Secretary faces right, and we'll have Aya standing screen left and Aya faces right. Now, before we do any spot directing, we are going to have to cut to a different zone, and I'm just going to show you why. Let's save and preview. As you can see, the only visible part of the car are the back seats. Useful for if you want to have a full car, but since we've only got two characters, we are going to want them in the driving seat and the front passenger seat. So all we need to do is add in a cut to zone 2 just after the background name, save and preview again, and now we're focused on the correct part of the car. Okay, time to spot direct. So directing helper, spot helper, let's shrink Aya down. And we'll do the same for Secretary and just move them around a little bit. Copy and paste those coordinates into our script by replacing the default ones. So Aya spot there and Secretary spot there. Now, in terms of animations, there aren't any official driving ones, unfortunately, but after a lot of trial and error, I think the best ones you can use to make it look like the driver is holding the steering wheel to some degree are the food hand animations. So let's have Secretary starts idle food hand neutral loop. Okay, we're going to need to do a little bit of shifting around again just to make sure that his hand is actually touching that steering wheel. Let's maybe even scale him down a bit more. Move him up. And I know that doesn't look perfect, but it is about as close as we're going to get to having him actually holding that steering wheel. Let's just make sure we copy that spot position and replace our original one. And then the great thing about this set of animations is that there are talking ones as well. So if we have Secretary say almost there, I really need to stretch my legs. We can apply talk food hand neutral and we'll add in a pause for a beat before he starts talking just so he's driving silently for a moment. Save and preview, and you can see he still keeps his hand on the wheel as he's talking. Okay, on to the second type of scene in which the car actually moves. Now, these are best used for scenes in which your car is coming to a stop or driving off, because for the most part, it would be a little bit pointless to have a car drive into a scene and then carry on straight out of it. I'd like to have the car come to a stop outside a house. So let's go back to the art catalogue. We'll go to backgrounds. Let's type in house. And let's say we want to use this one, ex-dad's house day. Let's copy and paste that. Go back to the script. And there is actually a side angle view of the brown car that I'm currently using, this right here. And I think I'm going to mix it up and use this one in this particular scene, even though both would actually work here as well. Let's just write with and then that overlay name. And I will need to do the same with the zones because we want our characters to be in the front seats again. So cut to zone 2. And I'll place my characters anywhere just like I did in the first scene. So Sekri stands screen center. And Sekri faces right. And Aya stands screen left. And Aya faces right. And let's save and preview so I can shrink them down. So spot helper, let's scale Sekri. Shift him over here. Scale Aya down. And move her over here. Now what it looks like is that the layers are the wrong way around, which often does happen. It currently seems like Sekri is closest to the camera, which is incorrect because he should be in the driving seat. Now all we need to do to fix this is switch up the layers, so we'll have Sekri moves to layer 1 and Aya moves to layer 2. As long as we have the character that we want to be closest to the camera be on a higher level than the one that we want to be furthest away from the camera, then this should work. Okay, let's copy and paste those spot coordinates again. So we've got Aya and then change the character, copy Sekri's, save and preview again, and let's see if our layer issue has been fixed. There we go, you can see Aya's shoulder is in front of Sekri now. Great. Now, here is the tricky bit. How do we get the car to drive into the scene with our characters inside it, moving at the same time as the car? Well, it's all about being precise with numbers. In fact, because we need to be so precise, there's no point us even using this web previewer to do our moving around of the overlay and our characters. Instead, we're going to use knowledge of how many pixels there are in each zone. Okay, so each zone is 640 pixels wide. So to have our car start just out of shot, we're going to want to have its starting X coordinate be minus 640. We need to write and overlay car side brown shifts to minus 640, which is the X coordinate, then 0, which is the Y coordinate. We don't want it to be moving up or down. And the duration we want this to happen in is 0 because we want this to be the starting position. So in 0. Then we need to go to the next line, do another ampersand, overlay car side brown, shifts 2 again. And this time we want it to be 0 and 0 again because we want the X coordinate to be reset. So it goes from being minus 640 to 0, which is this position right here. And the duration we want this to happen in is how fast we want this car to be moving. I'm going to say around about 5 seconds. Now, to have our characters move identical to the car, we need to make sure they're moving the exact same amount of pixels. We can get those figures by subtracting 640 from their current X positions. Now, Sekri's current X position is 109 and Aya's is 71. So let's open up a calculator and we'll do Sekri's first. So 109 minus 640 is minus 531. That means we need to copy Sekri's line of code and paste it underneath where we've done the code for our overlay, and change this X position to our new one, which was minus 531. And let's do the same for AS. So open up our calculator again, reset it, and 71 minus 640 is minus 569. So we need to copy and paste her line of code, put it underneath Sekri's, and it's minus 569. And because we want them to travel from these points to these ones, we need to change some of the code in these original spot directing lines. So we need to write walks to spot instead of just appearing at this spot. And we need to add in the duration as well after the coordinates. We need to write in 5 so that our characters move in sync with the car. And here's a really important bit. We need to change this and Secretary faces right to and Secretary is idle. If we didn't add this in there, it would seem like our characters were walking inside the car, which is clearly not what we want. That would look super weird. We want them to appear completely static because they're supposed to be sat in those seats. Let's just do the same for Aya. So walks to spot so-and-so. And then after the coordinates, we put in 5 and then change faces right to is idle. And let's shift these layer changes up to the top of the scene because we don't want them to suddenly change layers after they've moved. We want it to happen before they've moved so that they are already in the correct layers before the scene starts. Now, all that's left to do is to make sure this all happens at the same time, and that can be achieved by changing the @ symbol to ampersands. So ampersand, ampersand, all except the last one there. Right, okay, let's save and preview and see if this works. Awesome. The only other thing we might possibly want to do here is have our characters get out of the car. Now, there's no proper way of doing this. If you really wanted to go to town and create your own custom animated overlays where the car door opens, then you could, but it would be very, very difficult and probably not worth the amount of time and skill needed. As a quick alternative, I'd say the best thing to do is cut away from the car for a moment, then cut back to it with our characters already outside. Let's have Aya say, we're here. This is the place, sec. Then let's cut to zone 3. So we just cut away for a moment. We'll pause for a beat. So pause for a beat. And then just cut back to zone 2. And we now want the characters to be standing outside their respective doors. To make this happen, we're going to need to assign the car overlay to a layer and have Aya be on one number higher than that layer and Secretary be one number less than that layer. So let's move the car overlay to layer 2. So overlay car side brown to layer 2. Secretary is already in layer 1, so he's in the correct layer. And we just need to shift Aya from layer 2 to layer 3. So @Aya moves to layer 3. And let's just add in a general talk and animation for Aya when she speaks there. So talk neutral. And we'll save and preview now so we can do a bit more spot directing for them to be standing outside the car. Okay, directing helper, spot helper. Let's move Secretary. So he'll be standing kind of on the curb up here somewhere. And Aya will be standing here. Let's copy those spot coordinates. Make sure they're facing the correct direction. So, and Aya faces right. Copy Secretary's. And Secretary faces right. And to make it look like they're standing up from being bent over to get out of the car, we can use transition squat to stand. So let's have Secretary is transition squat to stand neutral. And Aya the same. So and Aya is transition squat to stand neutral. And how about we throw in a sound effect as well? Let's have sound door close to sound like the car doors are closing. Okay, let's see what this scene looks like now. Excellent, so there we go guys, that is how you get your characters driving cars. If this tutorial has helped you in any way, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the helpful tutorials that I've got coming up. And if you'd like to support me and get some exciting rewards like early access to these tutorials and personal help from me, head over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/author Joseph Evans, or click the join button underneath this video. If you have any questions about any of this, make sure to comment them down below, and if you know the answer to anyone else's questions in the comments, it would be great if you could give them a quick answer to help them out. Thank you so much for watching guys, good luck adding driving scenes to your episode stories, and I will see you all in my next video.